once again from a bedroom. So today's video is about a polyphasic sleeping pattern, which is something that I do. And so polyphasic meaning having more than one phase in its essence. So for me, what this looks like is I I get up every day at like where's this thing? Oh yeah, it's good. Oh no. I get up every day. I mean, it depends on when I go to sleep, and so it's a funny thing. It's a dynamic, and so my body will rest in a deep sleep, no dreaming, for about between 3 and 5 hours at a time. It really depends on what my diet is. If I'm not eating correctly to compensate for, say, like going to the gym, like if you go to the gym, the body's going to be a little more tired. It might want a little bit more time to recover. Same thing with and so if I am, if I say have like a leg day, which is an intense workout, and I don't pay attention to my protein. If I say stop having a protein shake every few days and I'm having a lot of physical activity, I will find myself tired and sleeping more, right? So that is a part of the dynamic, is the physical load and then the diet. But let's just assume that all of those things are being done consciously and mindfully, and and then also practicing yoga. So I have a kind of a body. I've heard about it with other like hypermobile people. So I am hyper in a variety of ways. One of them is hypermobile. I can move certain parts of my body in ways that are a little more range than some people have, and it relates to a lot of other things. It's this hyper ability it translates to a lot of different things. It's hyper energetic, and that's why meditation is so important to help ground me, and also hyper thinking. Once again, meditation to help ground and balance that out. And then hyper mobile and all this kind of stuff anyway. So all of that stuff in place. So meditation is said to essentially take the place of sleep. So if you're not meditating, better way to put it is like, say, sleeping is passive recharging of your batteries, like going into a state of consciousness which is conducive to like a recharging of your batteries. You're kind of tapping into something deeper that helps to your overall well-being and whatnot, and it helps with energy levels. And also because like meditation is not, I would say, like, it's not, at least for myself, I'm a yogi, and it is not what most people would think of it as, where it's like this passive thing where you're just sitting there with your mind blank and your eyes closed or whatever. It's not that at all. Like for a yogi, for myself, there is not one moment in my hour-long meditation every single day, or hour, 45 minutes, that my mind is blank. There is always a certain practice which is taking place, sometimes multiple things at the same time. It's a lot what is happening. Just like with yoga, it's like when you're practicing yoga, sure, your alignments and stuff like that, but also engaging your core, and also you're having your face relaxed and being, and then breathing into it, and like your drishti, where your focus is of your mind. And if you can close your eyes and put it on the heart space, on the base of the spine, at the space in between the eyebrows. And then there's also like the picking up of the pelvic floor. And then aside from the typical yoga postures, there's like the bandhas. So these are more like mudra is like things that are like they promote certain states of energetic activity within the body. And so you do these things where it's not so much about the stretching of the muscles as it is about creating a sort of an energy loop, or like achieving a certain state of energetic awareness in the body through certain postures and positions, and like that picking up of the pelvic floor and the placing the tongue on the roof of the palate. And then there's a throat lock, there's a stomach lock, and these types of things. There's all of these different ways of cultivating energy. And so within the yoga that I practice, there is a variety of these things. And so I would only assume that some of this contributes to my polyphasic sleeping pattern, even though I've kind of been doing it for a long time. But I think it contributes to the efficacy, like how well you're able to embrace it, because you have all of these factors in place which are essentially contributing to the efficacy of this other practice, right? How efficient you're able to do this. And in this case, we're speaking about a polyphasic sleeping pattern. And so what it looks like for me, for example, what I aim to do is to go to bed at 9 o'clock and wake up at 11 o'clock. So all of 9, no, at midnight, all of 9, all of 10, all of 11. About 3 hours is sufficient. And it's not like I'm not trying to do this. It's just that my body does this naturally, and I've learned to, instead of trying to fight this thing that is going on, to embrace it. So it looks more like I go to sleep when I feel tired, and I get up when I wake up. I assume that I have woken up for a reason, and that my body is ready to become active again, and my mind as well, right? And so not trying to buck the system, but instead to embrace this system. And so and this is very typical for me, is to go to sleep at 9 o'clock and wake up at midnight, because when I do, then I start work at 8:30 in the morning, and I have, 8.5, or like, a good solid 8 hours before I actually have to do something other than focus 100% on the pressing issues of my life, the things that are most important to me. And some of it is very small. It's just like organizing the day's meals. Sometimes, of course, an hour of yoga and an hour of meditation. But all of this stuff happens before 2 o'clock in the morning. So 2 o'clock in the morning comes around, and I've already done yoga and meditated for my day. So even though I will most likely be doing those things in the evening again, if I were to miss them in the evening, it wouldn't matter, because I already essentially did my maintenance routine. I've done my daily maintenance. So it's like the evening is just to go way deeper, because that seems to be how it works for myself. And so but the thing is, something that I've really learned with this is that it's important because I'm only sleeping for this window. And it's good because like then over the course of the day, I don't actually get tired because I eat very lightly during the day. It's basically just fruit. And then when I come home, I will have a larger meal, and I find that I'm always tired after that. So I've learned that it's very important to schedule that, or like get anything, because as soon as that happens, when that, that tiredness, when you have this onset of tiredness, then it becomes, and if I lay down, that's it. I'm not going to want to get back up after that point. So there is no, I'll just take a 1 hour power nap and then I'll get back up and then I'll do some more things for a little while. I mean, maybe on a weekend because I don't have to go to work. So I mean that dynamic changes everything. Not having to get up and go to work. So that's the thing, is like during the week, I have no choice but to essentially base my schedule off that. I have to compensate for my working schedule, right? But what else? But yeah, so on the weekend, it's a bit of a different story. I can kind of do whatever I want. I can have as many naps as I like. And then that is sort of like a true polyphasic sleeping pattern. Whereas like I'm a bit of a hybrid for what it's worth, because I have to compensate for my work schedule. But then on the weekend, I'm able to, if I'm able to stay in my room, if I don't have a bunch of running around to do, and it's like, okay, I just kind of get settled in. I nest into where I'm at, I set things up during the week so that I can do that, so that I don't have to leave, so I can spend my time having naps and doing yoga and meditating and writing and focusing on my big list of things that I'm working on right now. And so that's that is a part of it, right? And so and it works for me. I can't do it any other way. If I try to sleep in, it doesn't, my body, I will just, if I wake up, I'm not going to get back into a deep state of sleep. It just doesn't happen. I can roll around and be in silly position, and I'll lie in uncomfortable positions and this and that, and like have very shallow sleep where I have dreams that essentially incorporate a lot of the, like certain elements of my life, things that I've been going through, things that I've been exposed to, things that I've witnessed or paid attention to, things that I'm working on. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it's like through those dreams, you can, if you know how to decipher them properly, you can essentially, they reveal to you your emotional and mental, like energetic state. And then you can, if you can perceive what those representations are displaying to you, then you can, for what it's worth, work on like a chakra level, because you understand what certain things signify. And it's like, okay, well, I understand that the reason that representation was presented to me the way that and then how you handle yourself within that dream experience, then you can it's like, okay, I get that this and that, and this is the way that I'm feeling. And I had a dream because I was running away from something or fighting something. And because if you understand some of the dynamics of how the dream world works and how it's like it's all it's all an aspect of yourself, of your consciousness, essentially. It's a reflection. It's like looking in a mirror. So yeah, I mean, there is benefit in that, right? But I mean, there's also benefit if that's not what you need, in being awake so that you can do stuff. And yeah, I think that something that I was getting to is that the difference between sleep is passive, whereas meditation is active. You're actively um, practicing recharging your batteries. You're actively going to a state of consciousness, a state of awareness, a state of mindfulness, a state of peacefulness, a state of relaxation, where energy is flowing in a more efficient manner, where you are cultivating energy through different practices, like I was saying, mudras and other energization exercises and whatnot, that are a part of this whole yogic system, right? Because it's like yoga, so easy to say, but what most people associate yoga with is asana, which is the postures, the stretching, the physical component. But it is very important. It has a wide range of effects. It is one of the 8 limbs of yoga for a reason. I mean, it's a big deal, but it is just one part of a yogic system, which includes like restraints and things and observations, and then breathing techniques and the meditation. And so it's just like, meditation is a big deal. I've already made a video about this, so I'm not going to go on about it. And then, so to kind of wrap this up, because that is basically everything as far as I can tell. I mean, it doesn't matter if I hit every nail on the head anyways. You can fill in the blanks. But so just a few famous polyphasic sleepers. Thomas Edison, the guy who invented the light bulb, I do believe, right? It's pretty handy. Lights, right? Lights, camera, action. Nikola Tesla, once again, power, energy as we know it, alternating current, and a variety of other inventions, like who Elon Musk gives, named his company after this inventor who is, arguably one of the greatest inventor of all time, for what it's worth. It was said that he had the ability to build inventions in his head, and then he could actually visualize them to the point where he could take them apart and inspect them for wear, and then put them back together and see how they work, and get to them to a point mentally where they function how they need to, so that when he built them in quote unquote real life, they worked flawlessly the first time. So, this is a very high level thinker. And I just say, this guy believed in, he famously said something, it's like, my mind is only a receiver. It taps into a greater source. You can call that God, and I don't mean the way that, say, some religions portray what that is. I just mean the source of truth, intelligence, organization, orchestration, and just divine intelligence and whatnot, right? Like supreme intelligence. And so, and he was a vegan too, just saying. Nikola Tesla. Leonardo da Vinci, as we know, brilliant mind. Once again, another polyphasic sleeper. Brilliant guy, and he was a vegan. It's just saying. So, who else? Napoleon Bonaparte, the French dude, polyphasic sleeper. Buckminster Fuller, who is a great mind thinker, author, inventor, architect, all this kind of stuff. Polyphasic sleeper. Winston Churchill, he was a Prime Minister of of England, I guess, back in the day, and he was a well-known polyphasic sleeper. Thomas Jefferson, who was like the author of the Declaration of Independence, one of the forefathers of the United States of America. I do believe the third president of the United States, Salvador Dali, the great painter and whatnot. He was a artist and a polyphasic sleeper. And who else? Voltaire, who is a thinker from back in the day, who was also a vegan. And then another one, so this is like, I don't know, to me it's enough. And it's like Einstein. So Einstein, it depends on how you define this idea of polyphasic sleeper. People are like, oh no, well, he slept for 10 hours a night and would take frequent naps. It's like, so he had multiple phases of sleeping, right? So to me, this fits in with this idea of polyphasic sleeping. He had a routine that wasn't just monophasic sleeping. Would be you're up for a period and then you would say sleep for 8 hours and then you would get up for that same period and on and on and on. So to me, despite what the internet says, I would say Einstein was a polyphasic sleeper. He's also what we would describe as a genius, and means he's really smart. He really understood things, and he was also a vegan, of course. And so, yeah, that is the message for today, and I hope it finds you well.